Hereafter, dollar will be thrown open to the market. Let the market decide the value of the dollar. We will not interfere. From that day onwards, the currency volatility of the current era began. In the last 40 years, the currency values have been decided by the market, more by the speculators. In the last 40 years, we had more than 100 crises. Currency crisis, banking crisis, turmoil in the commodity markets and stock markets. Financial markets have been melting down. There were two currency wars in the 20th century. In 1921, Germany began its currency war by devaluing Deutschmark by 1 trillion%. That was the inflation they had, nearly 3 trillion%. That was followed by France, England, and the United States. There was a currency war between 1921 and 35. In the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944, some sort of stability was attempted to be achieved with the creation of the IMF. IMF was given the mandate to maintain the currency values. IMF did that job fairly well up to 67, 68. In 67, Britain devalued its currency. Again, another currency war was started, and we are still in the grip of that war. Hereafter, we may not have the war that we had in the past. Hereafter, the wars will be currency wars. The weapons will be interest rate, exchange rate, derivatives, and all that. That means the profit that you want to make, the bottom line that you would like to reach, will not only depend upon your efficiency in operations, in production, in marketing, in financial management. It will depend upon some factor somewhere else, the currency values. Will there be stability again in the currency values? That's a big question mark that we face. Will that result in economic instability? Apparently so. In that scenario, what are the challenges that we face? In fact, in 1971, the Treasury Secretary to the government of the United States, John Connolly, said, "Dollar is our currency, but it is your problem." He addressed the world saying that it is your problem. Dollar has really become the world's problem. Between 1777 and 1977, in 200 years, dollar has been debased, devalued, lost its value several times. And whenever there was volatility in dollar value, earlier in value of the sterling, markets were affected. Imports and exports were affected. Deficits were created. And stock markets were destroyed. People lost trillions of dollars worth of investments. Scenario is really challenging. Things are not in our control as you would like to. Now, what are the questions that we have? What are the answers for these questions? How to survive in this scenario? How to run our organizations? How to create employment? How to make profit? How to increase GDP? How to generate employment? Challenges are endless. The question is, we have to search for answers, new answers. We thought Keynes had provided all the answers in 1926. But then in 1960s and 70s, there were a lot of criticisms, particularly from Chicago University, under the leadership of Milton Friedman and others. Reagan thought Milton Friedman was 100% right. Market has its own magic. Reagan used the word magic of the market. So the American economists and the European economists abandoned Keynesism and they went in for Milton Friedman's monetary policies. For a short while, people said, we have got the solutions for all our problems. by just manipulating monetary policies we can solve. But after 30 years, we are back to square one. Milton Friedman has failed. Chicago School of Thought has failed. That means we have to look for new theories, new explanations, new formulae. We have to make new attempts. The question is not whether we can find the right answers. The question is whether we have the right questions. That is the context in which this conclave has been organized. The focus has been on stock markets, commodity markets, currency volatility, what are the issues, and what are the solutions, the strategies to overcome these challenges. We have wonderful people, great resource persons who have rich knowledge and vast experience. They have come here to share their knowledge, their experience, and ultimately their wisdom. It's a great day God has given us. We have people with different backgrounds, people who have been experts in their own fields, who have studied the global markets for 30, 40 years. They have come here to share their ideas with us. God has given us a great opportunity to learn. And today, let's be here, physically and mentally. Listen to these stalwarts, these scholars, these thinkers, these analysts. Let's learn, let's interact, let's reflect. At the end of the day, will you have solutions for all the problems? No. But we might have started thinking on constructive lines. We might have started thinking on global issues. We might have made at least a good beginning. And LIBA will be grateful to all of you if you can continue this debate, deliberation. If you can search for solutions. At least when you become our leaders, the world should be stable. The economy should be stable. The currency should be fairly stable. And what's happening around us should not be allowed to happen again and again. Therefore, with these few words, I greet you, I thank you, I welcome you, I congratulate you, wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thiru S. Krishnan, IAS, will be the first speaker delivering the inaugural address for the day. The Honorable Mr. Saranyan Krishnan is an IAS officer who holds an MA in Economics from the Annamalai University. He was selected into the Indian Administration Service in June 1989. Subsequently, he has held the following posts: Sub-Collector of the Kudurul District of Tamil Nadu from 1991 to 1992. Deputy Secretary to the Finance Department of the Government of Tamil Nadu from 1992 to 1996. Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Textbook Corporation and Member Secretary of the Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu from 1996 to 97. District Collector of the Virudhunagar District of Tamil Nadu from 97 to 2000. Joint Secretary, Finance Department of the Government of Tamil Nadu in April 2000. Deputy Director and Deputy Director Senior in the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Missouri from 2000 to 2004. Private Secretary of the Finance Minister, Government of India from 2004 to 2007. Senior Advisor, Office of the Executive Director for India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Bhutan at the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C. from 2007 to 2010. Commissioner of Commercial Taxes in 2011. Principal Secretary to the Government Finance Department from 2011 to 2013. He has made substantial contributions to several aspects of public finance and macroeconomic policy making at the highest level of Government of India. This includes contributions to the preparation of 5 state budgets from 1992 to 96 and 4 annual budgets from 2004 to 2007. He also served as the Government of India's representative in G20 expert groups on international financial architecture and global financial safety nets from 2007 to 2008. At present, he is the Principal Secretary to the Government Planning and Development Department. He also holds full additional charge as the Managing Director of the New Tirupur Area Development Corporation and as the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamil Nadu Infrastructure Development Board. Apart from this, he is holding a very important position as he is the officer on special duty of the 14th Finance Commission, which will decide on the allocation of funds between the center and the states during the 13th plan. It is a pleasure having you here, sir. I request you to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you. Reverend Father Peter, Reverend Father Emmanuel, Mr. Bobby Srinivasan, Professor Victor Lewis, Antuman, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure being here today. And it's one of those invitations which I instinctively accepted for two main reasons. The first is I owe something to the Loyola family. I went to two of their institutions in my school days, and I almost went to another institution which is adjacent to this one. Quite by accident, I didn't end up there. My father went to the college here, Loyola, but I had an interview in the Loyola College, but a couple of days before that I had an interview in a college in Delhi, which I will not name. And when I went there, they said, okay, we'll admit you, pay your fees. So I said, but I have to go back tonight because I have to go and appear for another interview. They said, then why are you wasting our time? And as they say, the rest is history, and I didn't end up in Loyola College here. So, but in any event, having been to two Loyola institutions, so when LIBA invites you, you feel that you owe a sense of duty to give back to an institution. But the other important reason is that, I'm well aware I've spent almost now a quarter of a century in the civil service, and I'm well aware that civil servants aren't the favorite people for many. We're not amongst the most liked people in the world. And today, the situation is quite similar to people in the finance sector as well. You're not going to be amongst the most liked people in the world. So it's a bit like a kindred souls getting together in terms of, so I said, okay, there is a natural affinity here, and I need to be present here for that reason as well. Having said that, I'm also very happy that I share the days today with Professor Bobby Srinivasan from formerly of IFMR and currently of Great Lakes Institute of Management, an expert in finance. Because I do not lay claim. I'm a practitioner, I'm a civil servant, I'm a policy advisor, and I do not lay claim to expert knowledge of any of these areas. I can speak from personal experience, I can speak from things I've seen, things I've heard, whereas it is really good that we have somebody who can actually speak as an expert on this area. And the other important reason I'm very happy to be sharing the days with Mr. Bobby Srinivasan is when Professor Victor Lewis came and met me. He said, well, please speak for about 30 to 40 minutes. And I was a little taken aback. I said, all those days when I spent in schools and colleges sitting as part of the audience as opposed to being on this side, the last thing you wanted was the speaker to go on and on and on and drone for a long time. And I said 30 to 40 minutes, I think that's going to be a little difficult. And so at least I'm happy that Professor Srinivasan is here to share some of that burden, and he'll probably take away the bulk of the time, and I can keep it light and simple. Having said that, I would just like to start with this proposition of where the note commences from and where the Master of Ceremonies today started, which is, Ben Bernanke's decision to taper quantitative easing, QE3, so to speak. They've launched QE3, Queen Elizabeth III. And that being the action which starts all the volatility in the currency markets. Some of that was put in perspective when the theme of the seminar was introduced, and we went back much more in history, because none of these instances are isolated, none of these things happen at one go. You track it backwards. You see what happens from one step to another. Why did we have QE2? You had QE2 because Lehman Brothers collapsed, and you had the global financial crisis at that point. Because there was a feeling that unless, and that was Keynesianism coming back, saying that it is the government which has to step in with fiscal stimulus. It is the central bank which has to step in with monetary stimulus in order to revive the economy at that point. And the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve System, at that point, Ben Bernanke, stepped in with quantitative easing, which is regarded as a completely unconventional monetary instrument, because what you're essentially doing is you're buying any kind of debt that anyone has to offer and pumping money into the system. And I